Ladies and sinners, welcome to another Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. We're back at it again every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk all things Vegas sports. And you guys know how it is. We are on Twitter. Those are our forums. That's what we love to communicate with our listeners, any kind of sports fans out there, whether they're right or wrong. Most of the time they're wrong if they're an opposing opinion of myself, of course. Just kidding. But seriously, get at us on our Twitters, at SinCity_IESR. Get at me on my personal, at Cale_Henderson. If you guys want to listen to our show, because maybe we're on a little too late for you, or you're trying to enjoy dinner with the family, no problem. No problem. Because we have avenues everywhere, man. You can visit us on the Spreaker Podcast Player, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. Well over half a dozen forums, almost 10 forums for our listeners to get at. And I love it. I love it. Get at us, folks. Listen to those episodes. Give us them numbers. I want to be in the top of IE Sports Radio. I saw this metric the other day, and me being the competitive person I am, I want to be at the top. How do we do that? I just got to be more consistent, so that's on me. I have to be more consistent with the show, with the social media. Maybe blast my stuff a little bit more on Facebook, Instagram. That's on me. I will get there, but I need your guys' help. Go to our website. Follow us. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on YouTube for F's sake, right? It costs you nothing, guys. It's free. Okay? Unless you want to donate to our, want to be a member of IE Sports Radio. We'd love that. But there's many forums for you to be a fan. And we love your involvement. We love your involvement. Larry B chimes into the show. Raiders. I'll say this, man. It was a preseason game. It was a preseason game. But it was a very positive game. We'll touch base on that more in depth at the last half of the show, but I will say this. There were some impressive things. And we need to see that for 18 weeks this year. And I still believe that this team should be nothing better, nothing worse than a playoff team if they want to keep their jobs, right? But we saw some really positive things from that team. And I rewatched NFL Plus. I watched the full game multiple times. It was a shellacking. And listen, a lot of the Niners starters didn't play. Yeah, well, a lot of the Raiders starters didn't play either. So, looks good. Looks good. And Aiden O'Connell, I don't know, man. I know I said this after the draft, but Aiden O'Connell looks legit. Again, week 1 preseason, just like what I saw. And it's obvious that he's comprehending this offense, which is very difficult. Doing a good job. So we'll touch more in depth on that here at the last half of the show. Kicking off our show is talking about the Las Vegas Lady Aces. Lady Aces are absolutely killing it. Currently in a live game, they're up 37-32 against the New York Liberty. Quarter 3, 9:17 left. The Lady Aces are just steamrolling, essentially, the entire WNBA. I think they have 3 losses on the season. It's not even really close. It's getting kind of gross at this point. 27-3 to be exact. First in the Western Conference, by far first place in the WNBA. I think by like 3 or 4 games, 5 games maybe. They're just killing it, and it's all because, and we say this every single week, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it till I get nauseous. Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plume, and Jackie Young are absolutely destroying the competition. On top of that, Chelsea Gray, every single one of these players is averaging more than 15 points a game. Aja Wilson, 21.2. Kelsey Plume, 19. Jackie Young, 18.6. Chelsea Gray, 15 even. These are amazing numbers. This is what you want to see from your team. Every one of them have played at least 26 of the 30 games that they've played so far. They're playing tonight. They're dominating in almost every facet you could ask for as a team. Um, I mean, what more do you want, right? Shooting stats. Let's take a look here. Let's see. Aja Wilson, 2-point percentage, 55%. You're going to take that all day. Free throw percentage, 79. That could be better, but it is what it is. You got to love it. 3-point percentage, 21.7 for a big lady, so a 5. That's amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Her overall field goal percentage, 53.7%. Just feed the lady. Dude, if she's making half of her shots, just give it to her. Kelsey Plume's kind of in the same boat, 48.9%. Right? 38% from three-point land. 91% from the free throw line. So if you're the Lady Aces head coach, what are you trying to do with Kelsey Plume? Get her to the free throw line. If she's making 91% of her free throws, man, get after her. If she gets to the foul line 10 times, that's 18 points. 18, 19 points right there. Not counting the rest of the transition points she gets throughout the game. Get after it. 2-point percentage, 56.8%. That's incredible. Jackie Young, her field goal percentage, 53.8%. So hers is slightly higher than Aja Wilson. Sounds like she needs to take more shots. 47.4%. 47.4% from three-point land. Jackie Young is. Chelsea Gray's at 45. You have dude, get these ladies the ball in three-point land. Beyond the arc. Give it to them. They're making nearly half of their shots from three-point land. Are you kidding me? It's no wonder the Lady Aces are absolutely dominating, man. Overall field goal percentages for Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young are at about 50 to 53%. So excellent percentages. Candace Parker is still shooting at about a 46.5%. Not bad for the 38-year-old veteran who is, once the LA Sparks leading a lady. She's still kicking ass and taking names in the rebound category. She's averaging about 8 to 9 rebounds a game, which is pretty big. That just means 8 to 9 more possessions for the Las Vegas Lady Aces that other teams don't have. It's just incredible to me, the disparity or how good this team is. Let's take a look here at the WNBA, right? Look at the LA Sparks. Let's take a look at the LA Sparks. Because I know the LA Sparks took a couple players from the Las Vegas Lady Aces. Nope, not Nika, not her. There's quite a few. I mean, I know that there's one. She was third in scoring last year. How does that work? They have twins on this team. Nika and Chini. I don't know how to say it. You're going to have to, bear with me. Sorry. Las Vegas Lady Aces. So, last year, Derica Hamby was on the Lady Aces. So Derica Hamby was a pretty good player for the Lady Aces last year. Field goal percentage, 46.6%. Three-pointers, 21.9. Free throw percentage, 72%. I mean, she's a pretty good player. Really good player. She'd be fourth on the list right now. So it's not like, yeah, facts. It's Drewski. Facts. Lady Aces are absolutely killing it. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. Absolutely killing it. They're mopping the floor of the WNBA. It's not even a competition. I'm fully expecting them to defend their title. I'm fully expecting them to repeat. When you're dominating this big time, man, like when you have three players that are scoring more than 18 points a game, what do you do? If you're the WNBA, what do you do? If you have three players whose shooting percentages, field goal percentages are higher than 50%, what the hell do you do if you're the WNBA? I mean, just tank, man. I don't know, just let this team roll. This team kind of feels like that Warriors team. No joke. It feels like that Warriors team that was so dominant that teams like just kind of knew the inevitable was going to happen, that they were just going to win the NBA title. That's kind of how it feels with this WNBA team. They're playing fantastic ball, team, selfless ball, and you got to love it. You got to love it. And they're representing Vegas great. I think Vegas is now the new title town. I've been saying it for the last year. Lady Aces are defending titles, right? The Ramblers were defending their title this year in the NBA. The NHL, Golden Knights just won their title this season. All of this in a calendar year. It's pretty badass. Now we just need the Raiders to get their shit together. Anything could happen at that point. Anything. You got to love it. Got to love it from Vegas. I love seeing the growth. And we're going to see more growth when we get back here from the break. We're going to talk about that. What's next in Vegas? We're going to touch on the UFC schedule, and there may be some movement, significant movement, for an MLB team in Las Vegas. We'll discuss that when we get back here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Callum Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
everybody. This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the '08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
And welcome back to the Tuesday evening edition of the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson, and you guys just listened to probably the best drop at IE Sports Radio. The Neutral Zone drop is absolutely hilarious, especially when they clown on the Arizona Coyotes, man. They just crap on them. And for good reason. Like, Arizona Coyotes haven't been relevant maybe ever. Like, they've been so bad. So bad for years. Their arena's in peril. Like, there's just no way around it, man. They're just not very good. Adam Karnick chimes into the show along with It's Drewski, Larry B. Make sure you guys check out their shows here at IE Sports Radio, where they always kick ass, take names, and yeah, great teammates, man. It's always good to have great teammates listening into your shows and giving you encouragement while you're in the middle of your show. If you guys want to listen to past episodes, if you want to catch up on this episode, tune in to Spreaker Podcast Player, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. Follow, like, love the Sin City Sports Show. We're on our 65th episode as of right now. Gotta love it. But there's plenty of avenues for you folks to listen to shows. And I want our stats to get up there, man. I'm going to start boosting some posts or something if I have to do it. I don't care. Let's get our numbers up there. That's just the competitive person in me. Adam Karnick chimes in, Mullet Arena. Got to give them credit for the best name, though. Yeah, but they're trash. And the mullet thing kind of, settles that as well. Yeah, Arizona is so bad. I want to say that other than the Suns, I think the majority of their teams struggle. It's just not good. They don't do a very good job. Diamondbacks, they might be better this year. They might be decent. I don't know if they're great, but they might be decent. What's happening in Vegas? This is the segment where we talk about what's coming to Vegas. And as you guys know, the UFC is pretty prominent, right? Following this Saturday, which is the Sterling O'Malley fight, which should be very good on ESPN. That's pay-per-view. That's in Boston. Dana White's Contender Series, Season 7, Week 3. I'm sorry, Drewski, they're just bad. They're bad. Okay, so let's put it like this. The hockey team is shit, okay? They might as well be playing soccer. They're that bad, okay? The Cardinals, they have a quarterback that might as well ride a Roomba around. At least it'd give him an extra few inches. And it would allow him to stay in his VR, his Call of Duty game, because apparently he does. Listen, I'm also going to say this, and I hate to do this to Arizona sports, but it is what it is. How sad is it that this player who is scrutinizing the Arizona Cardinals had to have a clause in his contract, which they didn't accept, I get it, but had a clause in his contract that required him to do so much film study? You don't hear about that from anybody else. So you're telling me this guy just didn't study film before this? Played too much Call of Duty? Like, that's the rumors? That's the crap he gets? I mean, I'm just saying, bro. That's embarrassing. Okay? The Diamondbacks aren't very good. I know that they've had a couple winning seasons, but they haven't been relevant since the early 2000s. Phoenix Suns are pretty decent, but they always find a way to choke. They do a great job of choking when it matters most. I don't know, man. AZ Sports. They're boo-boo. It's the truth. And it's not because I'm part of a desert team too. You know, I'm part of a desert world too. Maybe Vegas just a better sports town. I don't know. Just saying. Dana White's Contender Series will be coming to Vegas. There will be another one on August 29th, week 4, week 5. Let's take a look here. Fight night, Fiziev versus Gamrot will be in Las Vegas. That'll be September 23rd. The Contender Series is really dominating the landscape there. Yeah, I think that the UFC is kind of focusing on that deal. Of course, the whole film study thing is a bit of a glass house for Raiders history. No joke, man. No joke. You're not kidding, bro. I mean, we're not as bad as the Bears. We're bad. Yeah. We're bad. Glass house for Raiders history. You got to leave Jamarcus out of this, man. That was 20 years ago. Come on now. That was 20 years ago, man. Rude. Jamarcus. But he didn't have a clause, did he? The team didn't have to put a clause in his contract. Just saying. At least he didn't deny that he didn't watch film. That's funny. Whatever, Adam. Nice. The other thing that's happening in Vegas, or what might be coming to Vegas, according to an article, this article was by Ronald Bloom, the Associated Press, on June 15th, 2023, so a few months ago. Major League Baseball signed legislation which will begin the lengthy approval process for the Athletics' proposed Vegas move. Now, last we talked about this, Major League Baseball basically waived the fees. They waived the relocation fees for the Oakland A's, which could soon be the Vegas A's. That's how badly they want them out of Oakland. That's how bad the situation is in Oakland. Major League Baseball, which is in large a multi-billion-dollar business, is willing to waive easy money for a team to get out of a situation. That's how bad it's gotten in Oakland. And the most recent proposal was like $380 million in public funds from the Nevada governor. I know that the A's wanted more. They were asking for more. I think they were hoping for a deal closer to the Raiders. It wasn't going to happen. They're not the same as the Raiders. They're not as relevant as the Raiders by any way, shape, or form. They just aren't going to generate as much traffic. They might generate more traffic, but the quality, the amount of money spent will likely not even be close to the Raiders. And we're talking about the Raiders having, hosting 9 games, 8 to 9 games a year versus, 162 games in an MLB season, so 81 home games. That's what Las Vegas thinks. They have 81 possible games that they could send people to via tourism and all that other jazz. But the Raiders got $750 million in free money. And this financing package isn't just for 380 million. It is worth basically up to 500 million because the A's are going to keep their naming rights. The A's are going to pay like a stupid cheap lease on the land that this ballpark is going to be sitting on, so that way the A's can continue to make money and develop and grow their net worth. Vegas is giving this team a really, really good deal. For as bad as the Oakland A's have been, Vegas is giving this team a really good deal. What are the hurdles? The owner. You heard it. It was about a month or two ago. The owner is the biggest hurdle right now. Listen. He's having a hard time wrapping his mind around the fact that the A's just aren't as they're not worth as much as the Raiders. They want more. They're willing to pledge $1 billion to build the arena. Great. They're going to get another $380 million up to $500 million with all of the naming rights and everything else, percentages. They're going to have a $1.5 billion ballpark, which I don't really know if any other Major League Baseball team in their division, let alone majority of Major League Baseball, has a $1.5 billion ballpark. So I think the A's are getting a great deal. What the owner wants is another $200 million or more from Vegas. Right now, he's just kind of holding up the process. I hope he gets out of his own way. It looks like the Milwaukee owner, Mark Attanasio, will chair the relocation program. Basically, two people familiar with the relocation process. They're going to help chair that to kind of smooth things along. I think Major League Baseball overall, this is just my opinion. I don't really have any, facts or evidence, but this is just my opinion. I think Major League Baseball really wants to get Vegas a baseball team. I think Major League Baseball sees what happened to the Raiders in Vegas, and their thoughts are, maybe we need to get a baseball team here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, give it a shot. I think it's a good idea. Do I think they're worth the same as the Raiders? No. But listen, I understand NFL's a license to print money. They're still going to make billions of dollars. Like they're going to be millions of dollars, worth of franchise or whatever, to hundreds of millions of dollars. Not hundreds. You guys get what I'm saying. It could be hundreds of millions of dollars. They could be a multi-billion-dollar franchise in a few years with the move to Vegas. And that's huge. Because baseball's different than every other sport. They don't have a salary cap. They can spend what they're comfortable with. They can go out and buy players. Yankees did it for years. Willing to take that Oakland roster as a project. I think to start out, it's Drewski. Here's what you're looking at for because baseball is different. Like again, you don't have the salary cap. It doesn't exist. It's basically about what your team is worth and what they're willing to spend to bring in players to win games. With a move to Vegas in a couple years, you would expect that net worth to probably double. The Raiders went from $970 million to I think they're worth close to $6 billion right now in just 4 years. I don't expect this A's team to be on that level, but I could see them go from where they're at now, which is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, to possibly, I don't know, close to $2 billion, which is a huge jump. And that makes a huge difference when you go out in free agency and you have more cash to spend. That's what you're banking on. Yes, they're probably going to have to take this roster to Vegas or some semblance of it to Vegas to start. But as the money starts flowing in, they'll be a better team. They just got to spend it. They got to know how to spend it when it comes time to spend it. So Major League Baseball could be getting better by adding a team in Vegas. One thing I don't like, the Pete Rose situation. I understand it was years ago, but now we're basically just opening up gambling to the world. Let the guy get in the Hall of Fame, man. Are you kidding me? Just let it happen. It is confirmed in that article by the Associated Press. Manfred said there will not be a relocation fee. So we're talking about a savings of like $250 million right there for the A's. That's big. It's huge. That's what you're looking for. That's free money, and you can't be upset with that. That's an easy way to build revenue, build a net worth, build a team, build popularity. Ride the coattails of the Golden Knights, the Raiders, the Aces. That's how the A's are going to be relevant. When we get back, we're going to go dive right into the first Raiders preseason game. Yes, it was preseason. I understand it, but there was a lot of positive things done in this game, and we're going to talk about them when we get back here on the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Do you love college football? And do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I Single A in the FBS? Well, then look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Law.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Welcome back to the ending part of the show. You guys know how it is. We got to cap it off with our favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders. You know how it is, but here's our platform. Sponsor read for our platform, IE Sports Radio. For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to build tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports with our shows. Also, check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month, pages dedicated to each podcast on the network, our IE Sports Radio community forum, and stop by the store and check out the latest merch. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Raiders had their first preseason game against the 49ers over the weekend, winning that preseason game, and I get it. Listen, it is just a preseason game, but this team looked different. I'm not going to get on the hype train. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, oh, they're going to win 10 games and squeak into the playoffs. I'm not that person. I still believe that this is the third best team in our division as of right now. I am hearing camp hype that Jimmy Garoppolo, the offense just looks more efficient, looks different. I'm also hearing camps, I'm hearing that Jimmy G's throwing a lot of picks. Now, he's coming back from a shoulder injury. He's got to heal up. He's probably got some rust to wear off. But I can say that this guy has had a total of 4 more years in this system than Derek Carr did. If he plays this full season. He probably won't because he's got an injury history. But the reality is this. I don't have any excuses for Jimmy G. I can't do it. People wanted him here. The Raiders wanted him here. The excuses have to stop. He's a veteran. He has more experience in this offense than anybody that's taken snaps in this offense in a Raiders uniform. He's got to lead this team to a playoff team. He's got to lead this team to the playoffs, or Josh McDaniels. There's just no way he stays. I have a hard time believing it. Now, I will say this. If we see improvement, if the Raiders go to 8-9 and they're competitive in most of their games and they don't give up a 2-score lead 7 times in a single season, I think Mark Davis just bites the bullet and says, okay, maybe we're seeing progress. That's not how I'd handle it. This guy took over a playoff roster, and so far they've gone 6-11. Just not good enough for me. But that's just me. That's my opinion. You come in, you say you need to change the culture. As a coaching staff, you're ranked the 3rd worst via NFLPA survey. A lot of things just aren't looking up, man. The only thing that's been good about the Raiders in this last year has been the facilities and the talk about how the owner wants to win and all that jazz. Like that, they're getting huge reviews on that. Great reviews. What's negative is the outlook of this coaching staff and the way that they're running things, and the hours, the film hours, the expected demand of players. If you're going to put in more work than other teams, you should probably win more games. And the Raiders weren't doing that. They lost 7 games last year with a 2-score lead going into the 4th quarter. That's pathetic. That's poor coaching. So it sounds like they were overcompensating when they were losing last year, when they shouldn't have been losing. It's that simple. Reality is, what I saw this preseason game, this looked like a really smooth team. This looked like a team that is in year 2, or it looked like a team that's in year 4 or year 5 of this offense, of this defense. It was very dominant up front. I think the defensive line is deeper than what I expected it to be. Do I think that they're full of big-name talent? No. Do I think that they could have some effective years? Yes. Could there be some guys that get a second contract from this? Absolutely. I don't think the Raiders played majority of their defensive starters. That's fine. You don't want them to be in here. You don't want to risk an injury, right? A lot of good things. The run game was fantastic. I think the Raiders continue where they left off last year against a really good defensive front of the 49ers. Granted, a lot of their best players on the defensive line were not playing in that game, but the Niners have been known for their depth. They've been known for their depth for years. John Lynch has done a very good job of creating depth throughout that entire roster. The Raiders O-line, which, say what you want, last year were not very good. Looks like they've made improvements. They look more comfortable. Brandon Parker, who received a contract extension in the offseason. I think this was like his second one with the Raiders, extension anyway. He's on the IR, which is great. For Illuminor, great. I love it. I think Illuminor had an excellent remaining of this, his last 9 games of the season. He was lights out. I don't think he allowed a sack. Illuminor came over from New England, for you folks that don't know. He was a guard and tackle in New England. Comes over because he has familiarity with the offense. Josh McDaniels believes in him. Illuminor played lights out last year. So much so that the Raiders decided, okay, we're not going to start a rookie over him. It's just not going to happen. That's where they were at. I don't necessarily agree with that. The way I look at it is this. If Illuminor is the better option, fine. The first part of the season, start him. The first part of the season, just start him. Now, if the team is struggling, I would really like to see Thayer Mumford out of Ohio State, the draft pick out of Ohio State last year. Again, Thayer Mumford, one of those players that had a first-round draft grade 2 years ago, decided to come back, play for his team, gets bumped into guard. His draft stock plummets. Raiders were able to get him in the 7th. He's got first-round ability. He can play right tackle. He played it pretty well before an injury, and James Illuminor took over and just had a lot of success, right? I'd like to see Thayer Mumford grow. Right now, he's the backup right tackle. If anything were to happen to Illuminor, Mumford would step right in. And I'm fine with that. 6'6", 315 pounds. The guy's just built to be a tackle. And he's got sneaky athleticism, like he can pull, which would also be fun to see. See a little bit of counter with the young gun. Regardless, there were a lot of positive things. But the most positive thing we can talk about, Aiden O'Connell looked like an absolute dude. Now, again, I preface this by saying it's the preseason. The first preseason game. But here's Aiden O'Connell's numbers against a Niners team with very good depth again. He finished the game completing 15 of 18 for 141 yards and a touchdown. And when you see the highlights, you can tell that this kid's got anticipation. He's smart. He understands where the ball needs to be, and it's excellent. That's what you want. I'm not surprised. I think I remember saying, after the draft, listen, he's a good quarterback. Do I think he was a 4th-round guy? I don't know. But I knew he was a good quarterback because I've watched him in the Big Ten the last few years. And Jeff Brom, who is the former head coach of the Purdue Boilermakers, who is now the head coach of Louisville, is an excellent quarterbacks coach. And he pushes his quarterbacks big time. He expects his quarterbacks to be extremely smart, very intelligent. So I know for a fact that Aiden O'Connell is a very intelligent quarterback. You don't make it in this system. You don't make it in that system without being an intelligent quarterback. At Purdue, for that matter. You aren't productive if you're not a very smart, if you're not a cerebral, high football IQ kind of guy. I like what I saw from Aiden O'Connell. I looked over the film, and he was just, dude, he was there. He was lights out. I think he was, there isn't much else he could have done other than complete the other 3 passes and go 100%. There isn't much else he could have done. He had a near perfect passer rating. He looked good. He was moving the ball. The Raiders scored multiple times. The run game, yes, very pleasing to see. Zamir White looked fantastic. Zeus looks great, man. Is he in midseason form? No, definitely not. He was one of those guys where I'm like, you drafted him in the 3rd round last year. Why didn't you just run him more? Well, Josh Jacobs was having a career year, but I think it would have saved Josh a little bit more too. Still waiting to hear on Josh Jacobs. We don't quite know what's going to happen with Josh Jacobs. A lot of speculation that he's just going to accept the franchise tag. Take that 1 year, I think it's $10.4, $10.5 million in guaranteed money. The problem is if he completely breaks his leg and he can't play ever again, he's out. Like, he has no future. That's kind of what we're wrestling against with backs. I think they're going to have to continue to start taking, $5 to $8 million deals over 4 years, and $5 to $8 million per year deals over 4 years, so about $32 million a year. Those types of things with probably only the first 2 years guaranteed. That's what teams are trying to spend. They're not trying to spend $10 million a year on one player, on one running back, I should say. They want to spend $10 million on 4, and then just share the rock. At least this system. Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler. This is what they came from. Name a running back for the New England Patriots that received a massive extension in the last 2 decades. Corey Dillon is the only one I can think of. And at that time, that money was nothing. Like now compared to then, that money was nothing that Corey Dillon got. I mean, I tell me. Adam says, sorry, it's Drewski said, we will see y'all in the preseason finale. Just like that, man. Have McDaniels. Oh, let's take a look here. Adam says, have McDaniels in the front office been able to clean house of the players loyal to Gruden? Could that have been the issue last year? No, I don't think that was the issue. I don't know if Gruden inspired that much loyalty. I think that's just a total cop out, Adam. Because they've had over 100 transactions the last 2 years. That roster, there's barely any Gruden players in that roster anymore. And that was last year too. They barely had any Gruden players in that roster from last year. So I think that's just, some of it is, I think, the culture, man. It's just a different. It's a business now. It's not, hey, come and bleed silver and black. It's come and bleed the business, right? Understand that at any time, if we find a replacement for you, you have to live with it. Compete or live with it. That's what New England's about. This is New England West now, man. There's no way around it. New England Southwest. I don't think Gruden had anything to do with it. I don't think that the players loyal to Gruden had anything to do with it last year. I think it's more along the lines of Josh and the quarterback just didn't get along, and that's why they moved on. How petty is it, though, by the way? You want to talk about next level petty. How petty is it that the Raiders just let Aiden O'Connell have Derek Carr's jersey? After 9 years with franchise records and touchdowns and wins and all that jazz, you let a rookie, a fourth-round rookie, just come in and take the man's number. It's kind of disrespectful, man. I don't know. It's kind of messed up when you think about it. That's how petty things have gotten. And what I don't like is I hate it when people are not genuine. I just hate it when people are not genuine. If it were me, I'd be at the press conference and say, yeah, wasn't a big fan of Derek Carr. Wasn't a huge fan of him. I like him as a person. He just doesn't fit what I want as a player. There's nothing wrong with saying that instead of dancing around it and having the he said, she said, and then having your offensive coordinator, Mike Lombardi, reach out to his dad, who is on the NFL Network and receives interviews on a consistent basis saying, oh, it was all Derek Carr. Shut up, man. Just be a man and say something about it. That's what I don't like about this regime. You have to take everything they say with a grain of salt because they have done nothing to earn your trust. Cowboys in the final preseason game, huh? It's Drewski. You guys should have a good squad this year. With the exception of Dak, you guys should be great. For real. I like what your squad's doing. I do like that you guys let Elliott go. I think that's huge. It's going to make a huge difference for your team. So Raiders are in a good spot. Aiden O'Connell was a great. I honestly, I'd give them a solid B plus on this grade. It was dominating. It was 34-7. It seemed like it was very simple. It was vanilla. It's what you wanted to see. You want to see in year 2 that the team's starting to grasp what the coaches want to do. You could see that on both sides of the ball. So I definitely give the Raiders a ton of credit. They look pretty good, but again, it's a preseason game, so I'm not tripping, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it was lights out. As dominant as it was lights out. What I am pleased with is the offensive line looks like they're I am a Dak hater. I can't stand him, dude. He's not very good. He hasn't been very, I mean, come on, man. Let's be real. He lost Kellen Moore his job. And watch Kellen Moore go to Los Angeles Chargers with a real quarterback and be a Super Bowl contender. It's going to be crazy. I'm just not a big fan of Dak. Yeah. He's a good person. Love his bed commercials. He does a great job there. He's a marketable guy. I just don't put him in the top 10 of quarterbacks. I don't. I think he's kind of what's holding the Cowboys back from being that championship team. Straight up. That is what it is. He said we'll revisit this Dak combo. We can. It's fine. You guys deserve better. My godfather's a huge Cowboys fan. Hates Dak. Doesn't hate him. Just wishes they had a different quarterback. I don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. Yeah, I give the Raiders a B+. Really happy with this first preseason game. And you got to love that, man. I hope this momentum continues. I hope Aiden O'Connell continues to show that he can play games because it's inevitable. Jimmy G has an injury issue, right? He has an injury issue. It's the last few years, it's well documented. Aiden's going to have to be able to come in and throw the ball to Devontae Adams and distribute the football the way Josh McDaniels wanted Derek Carr to do last year. It is what it is, man. It's a reality. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. You guys can get at us on our Twitter forums at SinCity_IESR, at Cale_Henderson, where we talk all things Vegas sports, i.e. Vegas. The Sin City Sports Show. Catch us on many podcasts. Like, follow on the Spreaker Podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser to review any episodes. And as always, folks, tune in every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk all things Vegas sports. Love, peace, and hair grease, folks.